So we're very excited that the phase 2 study for ASD-ASR has now begun enrolling. This is a study that's being conducted under a physician-initiated IND at the University of North Carolina, and and it's funded by the United States Department of Defense.
Hey, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Seth Lederman. He is the CEO of Tonix Pharmaceuticals. And Dr. Lederman, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for having me on, Steve.
Yeah, you and I talked recently about a study that was upcoming in order to look at acute stress reaction and the onset of acute stress disorder. And you were working at a phase 2 study, and that study has now dosed the first patient. So I'll let you take it from there. Pretty exciting news for the company.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, as you know, and many of our followers know, we are waiting for an FDA decision on TNX 102SL for fibromyalgia. And our PDUFA date for that decision is in August of this year. A second indication for that is the treatment of acute stress reaction and acute stress disorder, which are precursors to post-traumatic stress disorder. So we're very excited that the phase 2 study for ASD-ASR has now begun enrolling. This is a study that's being conducted under a physician-initiated IND at the University of North Carolina, and and it's funded by the United States Department of Defense. It's an interesting study. It's being conducted in emergency rooms, and we are enrolling patients who have just experienced trauma from a motor vehicle collision.
Yeah. So about 180 patients will be enrolled entirely. But what's interesting about this is what are you looking for in this particular study? Are you looking for the effects of people not having post-traumatic stress? Because it's also the DoD, which is obviously when soldiers are returning from war and things like that. So what are sort of the parameters of this?
Yeah, thank you. So, right after trauma, it's not unusual for people to have sleep disorders and also a syndrome called either acute stress disorder or acute stress reaction. And what we're doing with this is we're looking at a 2-week course of TNX 102SL, which is a bedtime medicine taken once daily at bedtime. And the primary endpoint is to see whether it reduces symptoms of acute stress reaction, acute stress disorder. We will also be looking to see whether it has a longer term benefit and serves as a prophylaxis, a preventative for developing PTSD. And yeah, the military is interested, I think, because in terms of psychological health, resilience, performance, it's the kind of trauma that people experience in a motor vehicle accident is not too dissimilar from the kind of trauma experienced by the warfighter on the battlefield.
And Dr. Letterman, Leslie, this is an unmet need, right? There's really there's nothing out there for people to help right now other than sleep aids, I guess.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, there's real concern that using medicines that affect the benzodiazepine receptor, and those are called either benzodiazepines or even non-benzodiazepines, but there's real concern that those drugs, which are commonly used, might not only be not helpful, but may be worsening the situation because those drugs are sedatives or hypnotics, and also anxiolytics. But in the end of the day, they actually disturb the quality of sleep. Whereas, they do put people to sleep and they can control some symptoms of anxiety, but, we think they may be a band-aid. Whereas we're very excited to see the results of this study to see if our medicine could really help acute stress reaction, acute stress disorder, and prevent PTSD.
Very interesting. Dr. Letterman, thank you so much. Really good update. Good to see you again.
Thank you so much, Steve.
All right, Dr. Seth Letterman, the CEO of Tonix Pharmaceuticals.